Okay, it's my turn. I don't know what to say. Will you learn to keep away? If not, my nunchucks pack a punch. I'll beat you up just in time for lunch. Speaking of lunch, we going 6 or 12-inch? Doesn't really matter. I'll go Hawaiian in a pinch.
The Legend of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Part 1, Chapter 41, Technodrome. Written and performed by Joseph Chambers and based on the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic books created by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. Michelangelo leapt towards the sphere and, knees bent, landed softly on its metal surface. As it gradually moved onwards, he nearly slipped, having no hold on the smooth surface, but managed to grab hold of a plunger attachment that thankfully did not break under his weight, although it seemed on the verge. He swung from this to the top of the machine and punching and kicking off a few of the monster's weapons as he went. Michelangelo realised that although he had destroyed at least 10 of the monster's appendages, more than 50 remained, not including the ones on the other side of the machine which Mikey couldn't even see. To make matters worse, it was now firing shuriken and lasers at him, on top of everything else. Think. God, I am so stupid. Why am I so stupid? Michelangelo shouted to himself in frustration. Then the silly thoughts of a pathetic child formed something. He remembered Donatello saying that lasers were made of light or something. He remembered Splinter telling him that light could be reflected. Maybe he could reflect the lasers back at the metal thing, causing it damage. Worth a shot, right? Master Splinter had always told him it was narcissistic to carry a mirror in his belt. He had not understood what that word had meant until now. Narcissistic must have meant useful. He grabbed a small flip-open mirror from the back pocket of his belt, and when the sphere fired a further laser, it hit the mirror and ricocheted off towards its place of origin. The metal of the monster split and burnt a small hole. A small hole was all Mikey needed for his small and weakly toned arms. The machine made no attempt to try and remove him, as the various guns and attachments had not been designed to shoot him when he was on top of the machine, so although they strained, they could not get a good aim of Michelangelo. Once his arms were inside the machine, he rotated his wrists wildly so his nunchaku destroyed any circuitry within reach. After only 10 seconds, the machine stopped moving. Michelangelo 1, Metal Machine 0. You just got cowabunga, dude! Mikey laughed. He then slid off the machine and jogged home to go and tell his family of what he thought was the coolest and bravest thing he had ever done. He was so excited he could barely contain himself and completely forgot he was dirty and that his hand and knee were fairly caked in congealed blood and significantly aching with every movement. Michelangelo burst into the lair, shrilly screaming, "You'll never guess what I've just done!" Raphael was sitting on the sofa in the family area, watching the television. He turned to look at Mikey and saw him smiling and dishevelled.
Oh boy, what ridiculous story is it this time? Got dragged backwards through the most bodacious hedge ever?
Raph suggested in a high-pitched voice, not dissimilar to his younger brother.
Found a time machine and made friends with a dinosaur? Whatever it is, can it wait for just 5 minutes?
Donatello then came out of his laboratory, beaming. I think I just sussed why we changed back from those mutant creatures when we came into contact with the peanut butter jar. It was the nuts. That strain of mutagen is made inert in the presence of certain types of nuts. Hey, why are you so messed up? He said, noticing Mikey. Did you fall off your skateboard again? Leonardo came out of the meditation chamber at this point and moodily stated, I was meditating. I hope this is an emergency, Michelangelo. I took on a giant spear with swords and lasers and I defeated it. It was like that one we saw from the blueprints at the warehouse, replied Mikey excitedly, jumping up and down on the spot, waving his arms madly. Mikey's brothers began laughing. That is quite possibly the maddest lie I have ever heard, Donatello smirked. It's not a lie, complained Mikey. Go on then, prove it, Leonardo demanded. Fine, follow me then. And with that, Mikey walked determined out of the lair. Raph, Donnie and Leo began to follow when Master Splinter slipped out of the study. Where are you all going? He asked.
To prove that Mikey ain't a liar,
Raph replied rather roughly. I don't think it is fair to say that until it is confirmed he is making stuff up, Splinter answered. Thanks, Dad. Do you want to see the spaceship I beat up? Mikey asked. After that sentence, even Master Splinter began to have doubts about the validity of Michelangelo's claim. As the three boys and their master followed the gleefully skipping Michelangelo through the sewers, a clean-up operation was in action. Faster, faster, faster. Do you not know what faster means? Quicken your pace, that's what it means, ordered Baxter Stockman to his crew of 20 workers. The structure that Michelangelo had fought minutes earlier was called the Technodrome and had been designed by Baxter Stockman for the shredder. What Michelangelo had not realised is that the Technodrome gave out a signal that meant when it was deactivated it could be traced. As a result, Baxter and his team had come to retrieve the remains in order to study them and create better defences for any future weapons they planned to use against the turtles. When they had collected every scrap of shrapnel down to the tiniest screw or shard, they began to depart, but not before one of the volunteers found a torn Wonder Woman comic book, and Stockman snatched it from him, claiming it was evidence. Michelangelo was still skipping through the sewers, ecstatic at the thought of proving to his brothers that he was capable of fighting monsters on his own. Maybe even Raph would break a smile at this accomplishment. You're gonna kick yourselves for ever doubting me, Mikey said. I am awesome. You are awesome anyway. You don't need to prove yourself, Master Splinter said. Thanks, Dad, but it's different for you. You have to love me. My brothers don't, Mikey replied. As a father, it is a benefit that I love you as a son, but I certainly don't see it as an obligation. You better be right, bub, or else you'll be looking at the receiving end of my sigh, Raph grunted. Master Splinter gave Raph a disapproving look. You are just one corner away from seeing my greatest achievement, Mikey beamed, the largest smile he could muster. They turned the corner.